She met a boy, and her light turned on. He had no license, so I was driving him to the movies. I was driving him wherever they had to go, so I felt like I had some control, and at least I knew what was going on. So I thought, in their relationship, I couldn't keep Hannah home. She still went to school every day. She still was going to her legitimate job that she has, and she still has. She was showing up at the places that she needed to be faithfully. She just wasn't coming home. We knew there was something going on that was bad, but we didn't know what. I didn't suspect that really her boyfriend was involved in it. I thought maybe the worst thing, drugs. And they sat down and they said, you know, your daughter has been involved in this world. And I said, why do you have a folder with her boyfriend's name on it? And they said, he's her pimp.
It's not going to happen here. We're one of the wealthiest counties in the nation. It just wouldn't happen to us.
It's happening and affecting the majority of our high schools, from one end of the county to the other.
The majority of the trafficking that we see here in Northern Virginia is sex trafficking, and particularly with our teen population.
Trafficking in general absolutely can happen to boys or girls. When we're talking about in Northern Virginia, there tends to be a little bit more focus on young girls if you're talking about gang-involved trafficking.
It's all about controlling another human being. So they are lured into that lifestyle some way, into having sex for money. It could also be things like exotic dancing, stripping, things of that nature. So all these are kind of included with what we're talking about, this teen sex trafficking issue. So here in Fairfax County in Northern Virginia, we've worked with victims as young as 12. All the way up through adults.
There's been, I would say, anywhere from 5 to 10 cases maybe prosecuted in Northern Virginia. However, that only speaks to maybe 2% of the victims.
That particular group attempted to recruit over 800 girls here in Fairfax County that we know about. And I think what was a little scary for me during the course of that investigation was none of those 800 girls ever came forward and reported that they were attempted to be recruited into this.
There is no stereotypical face, there is no stereotypical build or something to look for. This could be the next door neighbor. This could be, again, the 18, 19-year-old gang member who's tatted from head to toe and kind of like everywhere in between. So it knows no boundaries with regards to ethnicities or cultures or classes or things of that nature. That's what makes it so difficult to combat against. They may oftentimes be dressed just like I am, clean cut, maybe clean shaven, and they're walking up to these girls, again, the same way any normal kid would if he wanted to approach a girl that he liked for a date or wanted to take her out or thought that she was cute. So they may do that by going on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the new social media device is. They will go to malls or metro stations.
These traffickers are looking for specific things. They're looking for girls that don't appear to have a lot of self-confidence. So specifically, girls that may be walking through the mall with slumped shoulders or looking down at the ground and not walking very confidently. Those are the girls that the traffickers are going to approach.
If they walk up to a girl in the mall, at a metro station, wherever, and the guy says to the girl, you know what, I've been noticing you from a distance. I think you're one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. Would love to take you out. If that girl's head drops to the ground and she starts looking at her shoes with her eyes down, he knows he's got her. Because normally a compliment, that's not something she's heard before. And her natural reaction is that she doesn't believe it, so she kind of puts her head down, looks at her shoes. Again, at that point, the guy knows he's got her. He knows he's got a girl with a low self-esteem.
This man will spend the rest of his life in prison for turning a 6th grade girl into a gang prostitute. He recruited her at a Halloween party.
Girl shows up at a house or at a hotel or at some party thinking she's out there with her boyfriend and is maybe going to be going to a regular, high school party. And what it turns into is when they open the hotel door, there's 4 or 5 guys that are there, and she's in there by herself. And at that point, she doesn't have a choice. They're going to do with her what they set out to do. This is the lifestyle she's going to be living, whether she wants to or not.
Just random faces, random guys, showing up and, going, taking the girl to the back here and there. It ain't just a hookup no more. It ain't just a, casual sex anymore. Once the numbers start increasing, then that's when you started, trying to figure out what's going on. So, I asked him, I said, man, you making money off of this? He's like, his exact words, hell yeah. Just that fast, I was the driver and the scout. I had the females, I had the means of transportation, and I knew the area because that was my neighborhood. So many young females have lost their innocence without even knowing it because of a boyfriend or this guy that they want to be around. Pretty much you sold your soul to me. At 13, I was smoking blunts. I was drinking 40s. I was out at 10, 11 o'clock at night. How is it possible for a 13-year-old to be out the house when it's dark outside, let alone 10, 11 o'clock, smoking weed, hanging with everybody that was, I was always the youngest. Everybody else was 18, 19, out of school. Here I am, at 13, I gotta go, I'm in like the 6th, I'm about the 7th, 8th grade. How in the hell is it possible for me to be out at this point in time?
I really encourage parents to be vigilant in their kids' lives. Be a part of their kids' lives. Know where your kids are. I worked a case where the mother told me that she thought that her daughter was at her friend's house every day, hanging out after school, but never verified that or never called over or talked to the parents of the friend that she was supposedly at. And the reality is that she was actually being trafficked. She was out engaging in sex for money when her mom thought that she was somewhere else. I understand that a lot of parents both work, that parents oftentimes don't get home late, especially in this area. But know where your kids are. Give them something to do. Supervise your kids. Have a relationship with them.
Watch the way they dress and leave for school. Again, remember that when they walk out of your house, there's a lot of people that are going to see them. There's a lot of eyes on them from a distance up close. How do you want your daughter? How do you want your son to come across when they're in public and you're not around? If you have a problem with something that they want, let them know. You know, tell them in advance. Don't wait until something happens. Be proactive. Get to know their friends. Get to know their friends' parents. Oftentimes, you know, as a court employee, I've talked with parents of kids on probation, and they have no idea who these friends are that their kid hangs out with. They've never met the parents. That's a huge thing right there. If your son or daughter is going to be associating with certain kids, as a parent, I would want to know who those kids are. I would want them over my house. I would want to talk with them. I would want to get to know their parents. It's just getting to know who's involved in your kids' lives and what they're interested in. Educate yourself as much as possible on these trendy devices and how kids are using them and communicating with their friends that way.
Be the parent and look at that cell phone. You'll be amazed of what you'll find. You might not like it, but your job is to prevent, stop. So high volume, as far as talking on the phone 24/7 to different people. One of them just might be, me, him, the next predator.
We really encourage parents to do what we call friend checking, where they have access to their kids' social media and ask them, how do you know this person? Tell me who this person is here. A lot of parents feel that their 15, 16-year-old son or daughter should have privacy. But we really have to be careful because there's a fine line that we walk between giving them privacy and space and keeping our kids safe. And so if there's something that our kids don't want to share with us or won't share with us, that should be a red flag. Why do they not want to share that with you? Why do they not want to let you see these particular messages? Because maybe there's something inappropriate going on.
Ask, figure out what's going on, because if you just let those kind of things go, my worry about stuff like that is kids' level of risk-taking just increases and increases and increases because they're thinking, they're not going to check on me. They get comfortable here at this level. Then their level of risk-taking goes up more and then more, and before you know it, they're in a situation which is pretty problematic.
If they're involved in something that maybe you don't understand or it wasn't something that you had around when you were a kid, make the effort to get to know what their interest is, whether it's a musical instrument, whether it's writing, whatever it is, something that maybe you don't know. Your kids will see that. They'll see that you as the parent are taking an interest in him or her. That'll give them that positive feeling. That'll give them that feeling of self-worth. And that's the biggest way to combat them from having someone come up and approach them and have their self-esteem hyped up by someone who's in it for the wrong reasons.
We got her off the street. That was almost the easy part. The hard part is trying to break this hold that he has on her.
Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be appreciated for who they are as a person. And as parents and as teachers and as coaches and people who interact with youth, we need to give them that. Because if we don't, somebody out there will.